So welcome back to the Out of Bounds Sports Podcast. I have here Curtis Kelly back on the show again. What's up, Curtis?
Hey, what's up, y'all? Your boy Kel's back again from the Culture Marauders, repping big.
So, man, I really wanted to get you on the show and kind of discuss about this upcoming NFL draft that's coming up, and also a topic that is coming out the NBA after the new documentary that everyone watched this past weekend. I did catch your show about it, and I really enjoyed some of your takeaways from it. I wish I would have been able to come on there and kind of talk to you about it a little bit, man, because you had some comments on there that I didn't really agree with on there. But I did overall like the show and how you put it together. It was really good, and I really like some of the points that you made about it.
Yeah, man. I was hoping that you had jumped on because I had a question and answer session out there, and then there's a couple people made a couple comments, but I was looking for you in particular to jump on. But that's all right. We can look for that after episodes 3 and 4 on Sunday.
Yeah, I saw that you had tagged me on Instagram, and I saw that tag on there, but I didn't actually get the notification that your show was out until it was done already, until late that night when I had told you that I was watching or listening to it.
Yeah, that's all right, man. Like I said, they got what five more or four more nights to do it, so I'm sure we're gonna get in some D conversation. That was only round one, so there's gonna be more to come.
Yeah, I definitely can't wait. The first topic that I want to kind of go over is the upcoming NFL draft. So that's going to be happening Thursday night.
Yeah, it's coming up Thursday night, man. It's come quick. Like I guess with everything else going on, and then or the lack of stuff going on, you look up and like before you know, it's like man, it's here. So and unfortunately, it's not a lot of buzz around it because if you caught the WNBA draft, it was all virtual, right? So it kind of puts a damper on the whole, pomp and circumstance and glamour of the night and the event. And these guys are gonna have to do it virtually, just like the WNBA ladies. So yeah, it's here.
So I do want to touch on that a bit, just a little bit about the format, the new format in virtual. Have you gotten a chance to kind of see the WNBA and how they did theirs, and how the National Football League is going to incorporate theirs to kind of mimic that one?
I saw a little bit. I saw Sabrina Ionescu. I saw her with her family in their living room, and basically everybody has like their little setups. And I actually caught a commercial for the draft, and I think the NFL is actually sending out like media kits, like audio stuff like that. So they got like the best quality audio and recording and Zoom features if they don't have it, just so there's no breakdown. And from what I heard, the commissioner is doing it from his house or a basement or some dungeon or some shit. I don't know, but it's gonna be like that. I guess they're gonna do their best to kind of mimic the WNBA format and and go from there. But the WNBA product looked good. From what I saw, there wasn't a lot of hiccups. And then again, I didn't watch the entire thing. I just caught like the first couple, and then the honorary draft picks from for Kobe's daughter and the other young ladies that passed. And that's all I got from there. But for what I see, it looks like it's gonna be dope.
Yeah, and I know for sure, like, if anybody can pull this off and make it a great draft, despite the different provisions and what we're, having to adjust to, I know that the NFL can possibly, pull this thing off.
Oh man, if there isn't an organization out there that can't, I mean, I think the NFL would be the one that could definitely do it. Them and the NBA, they're usually on the forefront of of new technology, getting things kind of squared away, and giving you a good product. There's a lot of money invested in this, a lot of still sponsors still out there, so they're not gonna drop the ball on this one and give us a crappy product. So they've had plenty of time to get it together. So I'd be really surprised if they bumbled this up.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see, like, I never watched the later rounds. I mean, because, like, a lot of hidden gems are found in the later rounds. I'm not going to go through all the lists of, different, people that have come out of later rounds and, became great athletes. But that's for like general managers and, people that are really into, drafting and critiquing draft picks and things like that. So I kind of look at the first round because I really don't follow college football like that. I'm more of an NFL guy. I mean, a lot of people like watching college football because they can see how the athlete blossom from the amateur sport all the way until they get to their pro sport and how they excel and, tracking from there. Like I have a cousin that can, go back and tell you exactly what college, what they average and things like that. Like he's into that and he's on the show, here and there. But with for me, I look at the first round, look at the first, the buzz around the athlete and see exactly, what team that they possibly going to go to, how they're going to fit with the current team and structure. So I want to begin with my team first, and then we can kind of get your take on your team and, what they need. Are you kind of into the NFL like that?
Oh, yeah. I'm a Colts fan, man, and
okay.
been one for a while. So, yeah, man, I've been looking, and we got some holes in a couple places, but yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, so we're gonna have the 17th.
Interview's over, man. Interview's over. We ain't got nothing else to talk about.
Really, man? Did we ever agree on anything?
Hey, we agreed on this until you told me you just like the hat. So
I just like the hat, man. I just like the hat. I have my name on this, specially made it, so it has my name on the back of it. I like the color, and I have some shoes that match it.
Okay.
So that's the reason about the hat. But yeah, I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, so we have the 17th pick, and it was might have been a rumor, but they was talking to another quarterback to kind of have like an insurance policy on Dak Prescott because communication has been broken down. He's not going to be able to go through that virtual walkthrough or something like that came out that he's not going to be participating in, which is not mandatory, but with a new coach and a new system, you kind of want your quarterback to be involved with everything that, they got going on, especially them rolling out this brand new system. We know that they retained Kellen Moore, and he's going to have some familiarity there with Kellen Moore, but you got a brand new coaching staff, new system and things like that, new philosophies and things like that, and then you don't have the quarterback. So you almost want to think that, we do have some defensive deficiencies, but we do possibly, in the first round, go ahead and, take a gamble and try to see if we can find a quarterback. And Jalen Hurts' names came up.
Whew. I don't know, man. I think the Cowboys messed up by not taking care of Dak over Amari. We could be asking the same question. Y'all could easily go into the draft and find a receiver. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to find a quarterback, not only a quarterback to come in and take the reins right away and blossom and run with it like Dak did, but also one that will command the respect. Yeah, I mean, aside from the hiccup he just had last week with the house party. But, I mean, that's the only negative thing I could see, and it wasn't even really that big of a deal. But you'd look at Zeke. Zeke was partying and goofing off and all that stuff, man, and doing all kinds of dumb stuff. He held out. They gave him his money. And then, and Dak, he hasn't held out yet, but this dude has been a model player for y'all, man, and has been consistent, the good face of the franchise, and y'all want to play games with him. And if he leaves, he leaves, but it's just, man, y'all talking about drafting a quarterback when that should be the last position y'all should be talking about drafting for, So, yeah, man. Jalen Hurts, he got ran out of Alabama. He got to Oklahoma and looked good, but I don't see him. I definitely don't see him as a first or second round pickup. I say you could go get him maybe third, fourth round.
With that being said, I look at him and I think about his intangibles. I'm not really looking at his, his play, because his play, it wasn't that bad. Even what he did in Oklahoma versus, because even in Alabama he was still a standout, but they wasn't going to keep him over Tua. We already know that. But I was looking at his leadership skills, the way he, speaks, the way he carries himself, and things like that. It reminds me a lot of Dak.
Okay,
so yeah, go ahead.
That's excuse me, fine and all, but what are you producing on the field, right? So, I mean, Lincoln Riley, man, he's somewhat of a quarterback whisperer. He came out with Baker, he came out with Kyler, and now he's got Jalen. I mean, the first two, Baker, he's okay. Kyler looks like he's going to be legit, but both of them are pretty small quarterbacks, right? So they overachieve a little bit. But with Jalen, I don't know, man. It's just something about this dude. I don't think he's ready to be thrown straight into the fire. I don't think he'll flourish like that. I could be wrong. What do I know? I'm just a guy, doing my own podcast and appearing on other stuff and just throwing out my opinion. But if you're asking me, I just don't think that he's ready to step in and start. Not on that scale, not on the Cowboys, to meet those Cowboys expectations, because you come into Dallas, the expectation is to start winning right away. They don't have a lot of time to sit there and mess around and wait for you to get comfortable and all that stuff. And that's why Romo got out of there. He still probably could have played another year or two in Dallas, but Dak came in there and started doing things and moving the ball the way Tony couldn't move the ball. And that's why Tony got out of there, and they were rolling with a young, fresh quarterback with a new direction. So I don't know. I don't think you're going to get that much of an upgrade with Jalen right away. You're going to take a couple steps back because it's still going to be that NFL learning curve, and that's what's going to hurt y'all, right there from the jump.
My reason why I tossed Jalen out there wouldn't be to throw him in the fire right off, because if you think about it, I can't even tell you anything about the backup quarterback, Cooper Rush, that we have currently right now. Like, I can't tell you any Cooper Rush.
I didn't even know who y'all had a backup quarterback. I thought Dak was the only one on it. Wow.
They have to have yeah. So I mean, it's nothing wrong with having an insurance policy. I mean, if that went down or if anything happened or whatever, it wouldn't hurt to draft Jalen.
So, I mean, you got a lot of cats out there if you're looking. So y'all gonna have to draft for need, man, because you already lost your center, and your defense is getting older. You're gonna definitely have to draft for that. I wouldn't, if I was Dallas, if I was looking for a quarterback, I would look later on in the draft, man, and get you something there, but address those other key spots, man, because if your O-line is breaking down, your QB is done. Take it from a Colts fan. Your QB is going to be done if your O-line is not up and up able to keep them up.
Colts have a great offensive line. What are you talking about?
Now they do, but look to how many hits and how many sacks up until that point where it was finally addressed.
Yeah, because I mean that right there is the reason why y'all probably lost Andrew Luck.
It's the exact reason why we lost Andrew Luck, man. They wasn't trying to build around him. The old GM we had, Grigson, man, that dude screwed up everything and got Andrew Luck hurt. And then by the time we finally got Chris Ballard in there, who was being smart and deliberate with his moves, Andrew Luck had taken such a beat, and he's like, I'm out, man. My body can't take it.
So as a Colts fan and seeing the impact of what Andrew Luck left, how did you feel about him retiring as abruptly as he did?
So I'll tell you the story, man. I got some buddies, man. I got a fantasy football league, and I had everybody come out. We usually meet up in a different place and do our draft and just party for a couple of days and have a good time. So I went out to Vegas for the last one. This past year, they came out to Tampa, out to me. We rented a house, had a good time, all that stuff. So we had our draft, and one of my homeboys drafted Lamar Miller for a running back. And remember, he got hurt in the preseason.
Right.
And that night, like right after the game, he got hurt. And somebody's like, oh, snap, Lamar Miller got hurt. And the dude was pissed. And then we were sitting there talking. All of a sudden, somebody showed me something. They said, Andrew Luck's retiring. I'm like, man, shut up. This ain't real. And sure enough, I didn't draft him, but I was like, everybody just looked at me, started patting me on the back, give me the pity pats on the back. Like, oh, man, it's all right. And it just ruined my whole night, man. I was just destroyed because we were on our way to coming back. We finally had the line. We finally had the running game. He was making miracles. He made Eric Ebron look like a stud. And that dude has like frying pan hands, man. He can't catch nothing. So he made the team better. And Jacoby Brissett was a perfect backup just in case. You got to give Andrew a little bit of a break. Cool. Jacoby, step in. Let's rock. But for us to lose him in August, that's what pissed me off, man. It's like, I understand your body's breaking down, but you knew your body was breaking down back in like February, March. You could have gave these cats a little bit more of a heads up.
Right before the game. Right before the game.
And pre-planned a little bit better, man, so that way they could have went after a quarterback. They could have went and got somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Or made those moves to get somebody else. And from Jim Irsay, let him keep the money.
Yeah, that was the next thing I was gonna say. That was great. That was that was you never know, like
it's like one of those things where it's like I can't be mad because everything your body is taking a beating up until this point. So
right.
Why take the money from you when you paid your dues, man? You went out there, you played hurt, lacerated kidney or spleen or whatever it was. All these things, you put your body through hell, and then we're gonna take money from you too. So it was a classy move on the behalf of the organization, but I just think Andrew could have did it a lot differently, a lot better, man. That's coming from a Colts fan, so.
Curtis, I want to provide the listeners a little context behind this injury about what I heard about it. They referenced this injury that he had to someone in a car crash.
Yeah. And you know what? And that's equivalent, man. Like if you look at a football player's body, right? And this is just from what I've read, every collision is almost like a small car crash, right? So you're basically running into somebody. And then, some of those other whatever's on the other end could be significantly bigger than a smaller running back, like a running back running into a wall. You got 300-something pound individuals with world-class speed for 40 yards, world-class speed. And you get that size, that speed, that power running straight at somebody. I mean, dude, it is. And his body was destroyed. And you look at all these cats, man, with the CTE injuries and concussions and stuff, and it is repeated trauma to the head and your body just taking a beating. And it's the equivalent of you playing after being in a car accident. I mean, no other way to put it.
Yeah, and like to be a Colts fan and see that, I can tell like how you feel. Like, you haven't gotten over that just yet. You still trying to get over that. But Cam is out there. Why Cam Newton? You don't want that?
Well, Chris Ballard said, he goes, we need somebody that's gonna fit in the locker room. That's gonna be a locker room guy. Cam isn't that guy. I thought about Cam. I really wanted Teddy Bridgewater. That's who I wanted.
Right.
But
yeah.
Carolina got to him real quick, and Cam is still floating out there.
Jameis
is floating out there, and it's like they're not good locker room guys, man. Cam is a prima donna, and Jameis is an idiot, man. And it's just they're not good locker room guys. Phillip Rivers, I mean, I guess he's the best we can get right now until we start losing for Lawrence. If that's the backup plan. I'm already starting to lose for Lawrence campaign, and we can go ahead and get Trevor Lawrence. But
they just got Phillip a lot of money.
Man, but it's only for a year, so it gives Jacoby a little bit more time to set behind another pro, a seasoned pro, and I think they're going to give him another crack at it once he sets behind, because I don't think they're going to do him like that, because all they do, if they release him, you know exactly where he's going. He's going right back to New England, and then it's going to be a problem all over again. So, I'm not mad. I'm over it. I'm just ready for us to find that next person to get us over the hump. That's
because it almost seemed like Phillip Rivers was a Band-Aid fix for this situation.
When you're holding, go ahead.
Because of the talent that they have, they need. I look at it like this: if you think about a gun, you have bullets in this gun, and how fast a gun is or whatever, and y'all have some really good receivers, like you alluded to. Like you have some you need a trigger, and if you don't have that trigger back there to get that ball to those receivers or whatever, that is not going to mean anything. Like that offense is not going to go without a good signal caller.
If you give Phillip time, man, he can carve you up. And they had a little bit better of a running game, a little bit more dynamic. But I think the only thing that they were able to bring him in for was his relationship with Frank Reich. And I think their offensive coordinator, they have a little bit of familiarity with each other. And that's why they brought him in. He's a fit. And they said coming in, he already knew a good chunk of the playbook coming in. So that's a little bit of a comforting idea, from at least from me as being a Colts fan. But I think where we really need help is the linebacker position and our secondary. Teams are able to put up points like pretty easily on us. Like I went to the Bucks and Colts game, and we were running those cats. And then all of a sudden, man, Jameis got to work, start hitting Mike Evans, start hitting Chris Godwin. Damn, Rashad Perryman was putting up. I think that cat had like 2 touchdowns, man. And they came back and beat us. Jameis put up like a record day on us, man. And it was just
I
it was
remember that. I remember that. Yeah, I
yeah.
remember that because I had Jameis in my fantasy draft, even though like I kept wrestling with the decision to keep putting him in because you don't know what you're gonna get out of Jameis. He could have threw 4 touchdowns or threw a bunch of picks. You don't never know what he was gonna do.
First man was right in the head of Darius Leonard who ran it back, and I'm like, yes, I'm in the crowd. We're hype, man. We trying to drown out the Bucs fans and stuff. But after that, man, it's like I think he threw another one. And then he started figuring it out. He got hurt, and he came back, and he was off and running, man.
Just I want to say that was his biggest game.
It was,
yeah.
And they posted on the scoreboard that he had just set some kind of record.
Yeah, I was happy that day because I was like, I finally took a gamble on him, and it paid off because every quarterback that I had on there, it was been a dud. I forgot the other 3 quarterbacks I had. I had like 3 quarterbacks, and I said, let me just try to put Jameis in there because I don't know about the Colts secondary. They seem like they kind of shaky back there. So I was like,
I'm just reading now. They talking about taking calls on Malik Hooker, right?
Yeah.
So it's just. I don't know. And Malik Hooker is good, but he hasn't been healthy.
Yeah, I don't really have an edge rusher either.
We don't, man. And it's just I think we had Justin Houston, but he's getting up there. I would love for us to get Jadeveon Clowney. You put him on the other end, you got Darius Leonard in the middle and Justin Houston.
Hey, but he asking for way too much. He needs to humble himself a little bit.
Is he a locker room guy that we need? So
he be getting penalties and stuff like that too, like crazy, stupid stuff.
Stupid penalties. He doesn't have discipline on the line, but when he's good, he is fantastic. And it's like, I don't think we're going to pay him the money. I think he might just wind up staying in Seattle, which he probably should do.
I would like for his situation. I would definitely because I don't think nobody's going to pay that salary. I think he came down off of a little bit, but it was going north of $18 million per year.
Yeah,
and I don't think
we paid DeForest Buckner. That's what we got. DeForest Buckner. We paid him. I want to say it was like 16, 17. I think it was quite a bit. So, I don't know, man.
And if you get paid that and you're like, I need to know who you are. Like, you need to be sitting there wreaking havoc on quarterbacks, man. Getting to that quarterback and being disruptive. Like, I don't need to hear anything about no drop off or anything like that. You need to be creating extra possessions for the offense and everything.
Yeah, and if you look at the Super Bowl, it was DeForest Buckner and Nick Bosa. They were the ones that were
flying
put in the
all over. They were flying over my TV, man.
Yep, and I'm glad we was able to poach him off the Niners. So I mean, I'm ready to see him get to work. But like I said, our linebacker and our secondary, that's what we need to address. And maybe go out and get another receiver because I think Paris Campbell's nice. I think if we could get Lamb, Judy would be gone. Judy and Lamb would be gone. But if we can get somebody like T Higgins out of Cleveland, if we can get him, that's a big score. But we traded out of the 13th pick to the Niners to get Buckner. So I mean, it's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be whatever scraps we got out there. But I'll just be glad that football season starts. I got season tickets to the Bucs, so I'm just waiting for the games to start, man. So that's all I'm really looking forward to.
Y'all need to keep Tom Brady out of y'all parks, man.
Tom out there getting the word, man. Let that man live. Let Tom get out there and get ready, man.
Hey, but they gave him a ticket, man. Don't care who you are.
Did they give him a ticket?
They gave him a ticket, man. They cited him for that.
Oh, man. You know what? You're staying at Derek Jeter's house, and where he lives, man, it's dope. It's like super nice.
But why you all out there in the park then?
Exactly, man. You could be in the street or something in the compound, but I don't know.
Yeah. So I want to go into the next topic. I wanted to talk about the 2 top quarterbacks in the draft, Tua and Joe Burrow.
Yeah, so I like them both, and I'm looking at the current ratings. They actually have Justin Herbert going to Miami. Tua has kind of been bumped, and but I think it's all on need. Are you looking at you need a pro style, or do you need this guy who's kind of a dual threat? But I'm gonna start with Joe Burrow, man. I like Joe Burrow. I like him. I think he's a cool, calm, collected quarterback. Like I haven't seen him get flustered too much, But then again, they've been outscoring the hell out of everybody all season, so there's really not much for him to get flustered about unless he throws like the errant pick or makes a bad decision. But I think he's going to be a really good pro. I think he's going to have an uphill battle, though, coming into Cincinnati where no quarterback has worked. You kind of been a Band-Aid. Carson Palmer looked good for a little while. Andy Dalton looked good for a little while. But eventually, I think that organization is such a disaster. It's only a matter of time until he's gone. So I think Joe Burrow will be good if they can, keep the pieces around him. They got Joe Mixon. They still got A.J. Green up there. They got Tyler Boyd. They got some other guys who stepped up last year in A.J. Green's absence. And, the offense is solid. I think their tight end, I forgot who the tight end was. But, I think they're set. On the defensive side of the ball, they got some work to do, as well as the offensive. Their offensive line needs some work too. But it's going to be tough. He's going to earn that check. I tell you right now, whatever they pay him, he's going to earn every cent of that money because he's going to be picking turf out of his damn face mask, at least for the first year until they really figure it out.
The biggest problem with that franchise is because they're so damn cheap.
They are cheap.
They're like that's the reason why they don't like to pay nobody.
No, they don't, man. And did they pay AJ Green? I think they paid him.
Man, I don't know. Like, I have to look that up because they've been well documented as being cheap.
Notoriously cheap. And, with that and then, moving to Tua, wherever Tua lands, I'm worried about his durability, right? So that shot that he took, man, where they basically broke that dude, busted face. I think he had shoulder injury, ankle injury, broken leg, broken hip. Like his hip was all jacked up. I mean, they destroyed that dude. That is your car accident scenario right there, where how broke up he was. So it's a matter of him coming back, being healthy. I'd like to see him in Miami just to give that franchise like that shot in the arm, man, for those people to get excited about, because the defense looks good in Miami, right? The defense looks solid. They can, of course, build, but I like the coach they got down there, Brian Flores, who's a Belichick disciple, and he's down there. They ran off a couple games last year that they probably shouldn't have won, but there's hope in Miami versus what I'm seeing in Cincinnati. Cincinnati is still a ways away, but I think Miami is a better situation for Tua. And maybe Herbert too. Depends on what style of play they're looking at doing down there.
Okay. So injury is what's impacting Tua. Because if you think about it, what you gave me, because you didn't really give me any stats or give me reason why you would pick Joe Burrow. I want to think to say that injuries is the reason why teams are probably going to look past Tua, because he should be drafted higher. Because if you look at, let's not even talk about injuries. Look at his career. He only lost 2 games in his whole collegiate career. And those 2 games that he lost was to eventual national champions.
That's true. But I think it's also need. You're drafting for need, and then it's injury. I think injury plays a big part in it, where he would have been the number 1 pick coming out had he not got destroyed in that game.
It wouldn't have been close.
No, it wouldn't. And we would have been looking at, Joe Burrow going to Miami or one of these other spots. But, I mean.
But Joe had a great run. It was a great run.
Yeah, and the team was well coached. They were exciting to watch. Alabama just looked off, when Tua was out. And, that speaks to his greatness and what he brings to the team. But you're 100% right. The losses he had were to the eventual national champions. So
yeah, I mean, you hats off to him. I mean, he had a great college run. And if you don't think about the injuries, well, I guess you have to, because you don't draft a quarterback thinking that, they're going to be good for that year or 2 years or whatever. You're looking at 10, 15 years from now when you're drafting a quarterback. Because if you think about the quarterback, and that's your face of your franchise. That's who you look at as far as like when you have like interviews or whatever. This is person that's talking on behalf of this and talking this and that. That's why they have so much critical things in their contracts. Like I think one year I saw that Patrick Mahomes had played a pickup basketball game, just a regular ass pickup basketball game, and ownership found out about it and they said, no more of that, no more, games,
Yeah,
pickup games.
you're too valuable because that pickup basketball game that's for free could potentially ruin your career. Take a look at Jay Williams that came out of Duke. The
Oh
point
man, yeah.
Exactly. That is a perfect example. Don't ride motorcycles. He get on a motorcycle, breaks his leg, career over. Not hurt, over.
That was dumb.
Yeah, and it was dumb, man. But you give all that money to a 21, 22-year-old athlete, what do you think they're gonna do, man? They're gonna live and go out there and cut up and have a good time and be young, man. And you have to put those clauses in there, for the sake of your franchise because you're trying to run a business, not trying to, cater to this kid. You're running a business. So I get it, man. And back to our point, Joe Burrow, man, he's not one of those players that's quick to take off and run. You're not gonna look at him as like a Lamar Jackson, or he's not even a Russell Wilson. He's a guy that'll sit back in the pocket and pick you apart when he has the time and the tools. Tua, he'll do the same, but he'll take off. He'll take off when you quick, and he can run. But that's the type of thing that could potentially get you hurt if you've already had pre-existing injuries or whatever. Or he could come back stronger. I don't think he's completely healed and ready, but I think, he's going to show you what he can do. So,
but the league is moving away from those prototypical quarterbacks that just drop back and pass. Like there's no more Tom Brady's, no more Peyton Manning's or anything like that. Not Drew Brees, but like the prototypical drop back 6'5" drop back passers that pick you apart. They're more so moving towards these dual threat quarterbacks that can move the ball with their legs as well as the arm.
Well, you look and that's a testament to what Seattle did by taking a chance on Russell Wilson, right? Russell Wilson to me is the perfect blend of both because he will stay in the pocket and he'll sit there and stay in the pocket and he's smart enough to know when to throw the ball away. But he can still beat you with those legs. If stuff breaks down, Russ is out of there. And that's why, he's got the name Danger Russ, right? So I like him as a quarterback for this new – he could potentially be the Tom Brady, Peyton Manning of this new crop of dual threat quarterbacks. That's how I look at him.
How successful would he be? Because like I said, the league is evolving constantly, and that style is very primitive.
Who, Joe Burrow?
Yeah.
I think he can be successful, man. You got to build that line. You got to build the line, and yeah, I don't know because Jared Goff is one of those same type of players, right? Those set in the pocket and throw. Jared Goff ain't gonna wow you with the wheels and take off running for you.
And look what happened to him.
Yeah,
he got his money, and now he's garbage.
Well, I wouldn't say he's garbage, man. It's just I think the Super Bowl hangover is real. Your running game wasn't consistent. Todd Gurley was hurt. And then whoever the backup was, he was basically filling Todd Gurley's role.
Remember C.J. Anderson? C.J. Anderson, that one year they had that run, man, he ran over Dallas in that playoff game, man. He had like 225, I think.
Exactly. And it's just, Carson Wentz. I don't think Carson Wentz is going to last in Philly because he just takes too many shots, man. Yeah. And you barely touch that dude now. You sneeze on him, he's broke. And I see Tua going the same way. Unless he gets a line that's built to protect him, it's going to go the same way. He's not built for that, man. And now he's going – and he's been injured. This last one was an injury that came before. Didn't he have like a torn up ankle or his ankle was busted up?
Because he was just coming back from that.
Yeah. So
and then that happened, put him out, for good. He had to shut it down.
Like I said before, man, you got these 250, giants with world-class speed for a short distance just honing in on you, man. They go, yeah. He gonna earn his money too, man. But
I get you, man. I see the logic. I see the logic. Joe Burrow is a safe pick, but but in the back of my mind, man, like what could Tua do for my franchise? He got it all.
He does.
It's healthy.
You're right. If healthy, and it's just a matter of taking a look at. We'll find out that all these questions will be answered opening week if they're starting and see those first couple hits they take.
Oh my God, I can't wait, man. Like, I mean, because this draft right here, I'm more excited about this draft than any one of them right now because of what's going on in the world, sports and everything. I can't wait to see what these guys are, could potentially do for these franchises.
Yeah, and it's one of the last sports where we got to see a full season. And you
Right. Yeah.
everything play out to see, all right, hey, we got all the film, we got all the stats, everything on all of these players. Their season is done. And then where you can't say the same for basketball, because with March Madness, who knows who would have broke out, and things would have changed. It would have shuffled the deck so much in March Madness going into NBA draft. Baseball. We saw that, but you really need spring training, to see how these guys are really coming into the season, who's standing out. And, the baseball season's so long, you could start slow and then pick it up. So
Right.
with football, we already know what the finished product's going to be. It's just a matter, are they ready to take those hits? Are they going to have that NFL speed? Are they going to pick up the NFL speed, and succeed like they did in college? So,
yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see. So we're going to segue into the next topic. This is going to be the final topic. There was a story that came out after the Chicago documentary about the Last Dance that we watched, and Draymond Green had his take on it and kind of compared their team to that Chicago Bulls dynasty and what it could have been. I think the interview aired on Uninterrupted, and he was basically talking about the elephant in the room, and basically saying, talking about KD and his departure and things like that. And also it came out that he said that he felt like KD should have been more vocal about him wanting to leave. But for me and my take, you call me out my name, especially that particular word, what he called him or whatever, as a man, I don't owe you nothing.
Yeah, that's true. And so, I'm sorry, go ahead. I
No. That was all I had to say about that. Like, I just wanted to hear what you had to say about it. And, you do know what he called him, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
on national television, might I add.
On national television. So how do you feel about how KD handled his free agency, and how do you feel about Draymond's comments after all this time?
So I'm gonna start with Draymond. I like the fact that Draymond addressed it now, and I think maybe the documentary kind of pushed it, but address it now instead of waiting years and years later. Like, oh man, I like how he did it. Address it now. So my thing with KD is, why are you surprised? He did it to Oklahoma City. Why would you be surprised that he's going to turn around and do it to you? So, just because you're the Warriors, all right, man, well, y'all lost, so he's out. When KD doesn't take the losing, right? So,
right.
He did it to Russ. He went to the team that beat them. So why do you think he owes you any type of loyalty? He brought you what? Another 2 championships?
2 championships.
Another 2 championships in the 3
Possibly could have been a third if he didn't get hurt and Clay didn't go down.
It could have been. So Draymond, like, he's basically, man, just the talking horse, man. Like, this dude just talks. And, I get it. You don't want to, your team ain't going to be worth nothing this year anyway, or this past season. They weren't going to be worth anything. But damn, man, at least show up to play.
He averaged in a triple single. And what I mean by that, 8 and 8.
Yes. But you know what? That's always been Draymond's game. And I go back and forth with my homeboy. He talks about that. But I said, but look, what Draymond brings to the game, because he is a defensive player of the year. Let's not forget.
Yeah.
He probably will go into the Hall of Fame. And, as an undersized, center, tweener, center, power forward.
You think he's a Hall of Famer?
I think he'll be a Hall of Famer, because what he brought to the team, it wasn't a matter of like shooting or scoring. It was, like you said, the intangibles, right? It was other things that Clay and Steph didn't bring. He brought that toughness. He was the voice. He was coaching, man, getting cats in position defensively on the court. He was the defensive voice on that team. So, and hey, it goes both ways. You can throw up all the points in the world, but if you can't stop somebody, what the hell's the point? So I think that's where Draymond comes in. And I think Iguodala will get in also based off of the Warriors. But anyway, back to the original point.
Man, but I feel like for me, I feel like he helped KD out the door. He down there pushed him out the door.
Well, KD's soft, man. KD's soft. And
I'm a KD fan too. I just want to let you know that I do like KD.
I liked him too, but just the way he kind of disappeared, man, like you were close. So why not give it one more run? I understand the contract situation and everything. He was up. He was going to be a free agent. I get it. But I just think the snake nickname is appropriate, man. He's a snake, and I had a KD Thunder jersey, and it's like, man, when he pulled that, I was so sick. I'm like, it was basically watching Stephon Marbury and Kevin Garnett all over again, just for a new generation. It was the same thing, man, and versus the point guard leaving, the point guard stayed. So, yeah, man, I just didn't like the way he did it to Oklahoma City. But by that point, I was done with him. So I'm like, good, leave Golden State. I want to see somebody else get in the picture and do something different. So Draymond is just emotional. I don't think he likes losing again. Losing is hard on anybody. And then, especially for KD basically to take his ball and go to Brooklyn.
Just off the cuff. They didn't even know he was coming.
Oh, Brooklyn?
Brooklyn didn't know he was coming.
Really? Because, I speculated excuse me, I speculated that he was going to go to the Knicks. I thought
everybody did. Everybody had him going to the Knicks. If anybody saw Brooklyn coming, they're lying.
I got a picture that I took back when it was still kind of back and forth. I was still up in Jersey, and we went up to New York, and there was a big mural in downtown Manhattan that had KD on there, and they were vying for him to come to New York. I was like, oh man, they got it up already, and it was a foregone conclusion that him and Kyrie were going to go to Brooklyn or go to New York.
They was going to draft Zion. They had all kinds of different aspirations or whatever.
And I think what happened was when that draft happened and they didn't get Zion,
screwed up everything. That was everything.
It ruined everything. So
that owner, man, play for that owner, man. Like, that owner is horrible.
James Dolan is a dumbass, and he's more concerned about being like this fake rock star than taking care of the Knicks. And then when he gets called out on it, man, he wants to like kick cats out of the garden. And it's just you can't run business like that, man. Like you threw Spike Lee out. Spike Lee is your biggest supporter. Rain or shine, he's been a Knicks supporter.
They said that he over the years he done spent like $10 million on the freaking Knicks or something like that, like millions of dollars on the Knicks.
And he's from Brooklyn. And it's just like it's real easy for Spike to go to the Nets. I don't think he'll do it, but
no, he's too loyal to the Knicks.
He is, man. And I think Draymond needs to get out of his feelings, man. Because as soon as they get this first through third pick, whatever it may fall, they're gonna be right back in the picture with a healthy Steph, a healthy Clay, and Draymond.
I don't want to say they're gonna be right back in the mix.
Sure, man. With Andrew Wiggins, Steph, Clay, Draymond, this draft pick, and they're gonna have money. They're gonna go get somebody else. They're gonna be right back there, man. I'm telling you,
Wiggins. You talking about Andrew Wiggins and KD? He's not gonna be what KD was today.
No. You're right. He's not. But they will go get somebody else who will. Nope, not too many people. There's only one KD, right?
Right.
There's only one. But you can still go get somebody who can still get you buckets and still be serviceable. Like, I tell you who'd be a perfect fit there. If you could somehow find a way to bring Brandon Ingram down there, you're right back in it.
When we talk about Golden State and you using these words right back in it, we're talking about championships. We're not
championship window.
Oh, okay. Because I don't know, because they're not gonna have what they had before ever again.
And you're older, and you got two players who haven't played in a while, and you got to get that game rhythm. You got to get game shape. Steph was just coming back. I think he played like 1 or 2 games before the season kind of folded, and you're still looking at Clay to come back. Is he going to be the same? You got to get in basketball shape, man. And I think they'll be fine, but they're going to be all in their 30s, and they're going to be looking to make a move. And I think Draymond is probably going to be the one out. I think they're going to move him. And I've been talking to my homeboy. He's going to be probably winding up back in Detroit. He's going to wind up in Detroit. He's going to go home and play for the Pistons. And, and I wish the Pistons had held on to Drummond, and they could have moved him to Golden State. Trade him.
Drummond's soft.
Drummond, oh, man. I don't think Drummond's soft. I just think that the market he played in didn't really necessitate viewing. Like you're not tuning in.
Andre Drummond is soft, man. Like, seriously. Like, you can talk to him a certain kind of way or do something, and it takes him completely out of his game. Completely out.
What? I would agree with that probably about 3 years ago. I would have agreed with that. I just think he's a little bit different. That year they made the playoffs. Was it 2 years ago when Blake first got there?
He doesn't have any mental toughness, man. His mental toughness is not there.
You need to be challenged, and you've never been associated with a winner. So how would you know what it feels to be a winner if you've never been associated with? Like LeBron. LeBron had never won anything. He got close, but it took for him to get down to Miami to learn how to win. And he said that.
Everybody's watching this Last Dance. I mean, you can watch that if you need some exposure to winning.
But you know what? Mike couldn't do it. Mike couldn't do it without Scottie, and
no,
vice
man.
versa. You know
if you think about any of the playoff series that Mike played without Scottie Pippen, he was getting swept.
Yeah, and so he's essential, and I think you need to taste losing long enough to eventually know to go to a winner and learn how to win, and then you don't look back from there. So it happened with KD, it happened with LeBron. Kobe had to reinvent his whole approach once Shaq left, and right. The cupboard was there, and they had to rebuild it. You had to suck again to appreciate winning and know how to get back to that level. So, I mean, all the greats go through it, man. All the greats do. And with Drummond, I don't know how we got on Drummond, but with Andre Drummond, it's going to have to happen for him. But
well, you talked about Draymond going to Detroit.
Yeah. That's been for at least 2 seasons now, I think, because eventually he's going to be the weak link on that team. You can bark all these defensive assignments and stuff, but if you aren't physically able to do that, they're going to look to get younger, man. And Golden State likes to pride themselves on thinking 2 steps ahead of the competition. And there's probably some talks already of moving that dude. I wouldn't be surprised. And man, plus
I would definitely, after what he pulled with KD, like if it had been like a choice between him or KD, I would have definitely let Draymond walk.
Yeah. Most people would have done that.
Like, because you think about KD, like, you're not going to have a lot of players out there like KD. He's 7 foot, and he can get that shot off anywhere. Yes. You want him to take you to the baseline, he can take you there. You want him to drive to the basket, he can do that. You want to hit the 3, he gonna do that. Like, I mean, that once he shoots the ball, and that ball is at its arc or whatever, it's traveling 10 feet in the air. He's 7 foot tall and 3 more feet in the air. You're at 10 feet. Who's blocking that?
Exactly.
Who's going to close out on that shot?
Maybe Anthony Davis. Maybe, but that's
a stretch, because I've seen lesser players get shots off against Anthony Davis. Yeah. I like Anthony Davis. I don't want to, because he got that purple and gold on.
Of course you do. Yeah.
So I like Anthony Davis. I mean, it's kind of concerning. He done sold his crib, man.
I don't think he's leaving.
Man, he done sold his crib. I was like, oh man, what's going on?
I mean, getting off topic, wouldn't it be wild if this dude went to Miami? Because I look at the states, man, that don't have like state tax, and Florida's one of them. Texas is one of them. Arizona, I think, is one of them. Washington State is one of them. I'm looking at those states, man, and Miami is an attractive spot. And Pat Riley said, he goes, we got enough to get one more. So you already got Jimmy down there. You got Iggy down there, and then who else?
What's that? Tyler Hero.
And then you go down there. You throw Anthony Davis down there, dude. The East is wide open. They could go down there and pull something.
Yeah, keep your hands off Anthony Davis, man.
He's in cahoots with LeBron, so he's not leaving, man. He probably sold his place to move in with LeBron. Who knows?
They can have all the Taco Tuesday they want. All right, man. So I want to segue into my last and final thing. So you're an ambassador for Pod Decks.
Right.
And so I recently placed my order, used your code and everything, and ordered my first batch of Pod Decks here.
All right.
So I have 5 questions that I randomly pick. I don't know what these questions are. I randomly pick these questions out of the Pod Deck stack. And so the last segment of the show, I want to kind of go over these questions, kind of have like a back and forth Q&A, so some of the listeners can be able to, know a little bit more about you, in reference to these Pod Decks. So the first question that I have here on the first card, if you can instantly become one, what would you want to be like an expert in? So if you can instantly become one, what would you want to be an expert in? That's what it is. So I kind of stumbled over that.
Become an expert in something? I would say, maybe like public health, because that's kind of really fucking up everybody right now with
Right.
this virus. Maybe be somewhat of a voice of reason or whatever, or be the voice that Trump will actually listen to. Because the guy they got in right now, Dr. Fauci, he's a pro, and this dude has been on the job, I think, since the 80s,
Yeah.
70s, 70s, 80s. And obviously that's not enough for his voice to be heard by the president. So whatever I could do to get these folks to listen and take this seriously and stop pointing fingers and just get something done, that's the line I would probably follow.
And just a little small comment about it. I think what they're doing right now, they're trying to open up the economy way too fast.
Yeah, I think so too, man. I think so too. And now you're starting to see, I think it was a city in Kentucky, they relaxed the quarantine, rules too soon, and now their numbers are spiking again. Well, yeah, no shit. Like, what do you think's gonna happen?
Yeah.
If you don't have a way to stop it, or a cure,
control it, contain it, something.
Exactly. Well, we're somewhat controlling it with the social distancing and quarantine. But if you don't have another way outside of that, when you eliminate that and you're right back to interacting, hey, what's up, hanging out again, what do you think is going to happen? So it's that. And yeah, man, if I could figure out a way to, be an expert in I can't even think of the term, virus control or whatever public health is. My wife is public health. So whatever she's doing, if I could be on the front lines of that and be an expert in that, that's the route I would go.
That's interesting. I didn't think that was going to come out of your mouth about being an expert in that, but that's actually a smart assessment. I like that one. Next one, if you could ask one person one question and they had to answer truthfully, who and what would you ask them?
I would get whatever feed I could get into the American public where everybody would be forced to watch it. I would look them straight in the camera and be like, are you paying attention now? Are you paying attention now? Because taking your eye off the ball and just wanting to, get back for whatever reason is the reason why we're in the state that we are in the world, in this country right now. So pay attention to your politics. Pay attention to who these people really are before you cast that vote. That's what I would do.
Okay. That's a good one as well. I got 3 more.
All right.
If you had to teach a class on one thing, what would you teach?
I would teach it on servant leadership. Coming from the military, sergeant is basically Latin for servant. So I retired as a master sergeant. That was the thing I enjoyed the most, was servant leadership, teaching people to be better. By no means am I perfect, but I do have my graduates in organizational management, organizational leadership. But that's the lane I love doing, was growing and finding that talent in people and helping them get to that level and grooming them to eventually take my place. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about in the military. You train your people under you to eventually take your place and keep the Air Force rolling and rocking. So yeah, servant leadership.
So you would you consider yourself as being a natural born leader?
I think everybody has the potential, but I also think that you need to be put in those situations to where that talent is actually nurtured and developed. For me, I led convoy operations in Iraq. So that was one of those things where, either you got it or you don't. And if you don't, they will not put you on the road with people's lives in your hands, which you calling the shots. So I think you have to be put in those situations, be willing to get out of your comfort zone, because how can you tell somebody else to grow if you're not willing to grow yourself? So yeah, I don't consider myself a natural born leader, but I do think that I took advantage of the opportunities to grow my leadership capabilities.
Okay. If you could be guaranteed one thing in life besides money, what would it be?
Health. Health is wealth, man. And I think as I get older, and I'm 40, and hey, knock on wood, I'm in pretty solid shape.
Man, you look good for 40. I want to add that.
I appreciate it, man. It's a lot of rum and lotion. That's the secret. Rum and lotion. So, but yeah, man, it's you find, like, you know, as you're seeing people being taken out from this COVID-19 with these underlying conditions like high blood pressure, you know, asthma, you know, heart disease and stuff like that, and that's prevalent in the African American community, man. Like we have it, you know, it's one of those things, diabetes, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, I just wish to be healthy so, you know, I can continue to live this good life and do these things and get on these interviews and just have a good time, man. And it's just, health is wealth. I see it more so now than before, when I could run fast, lift heavy, and you know, jump out of the gym. It's like now things are a little different, man. I got to warm up before I pull some stunts like that. So
yeah, definitely. I'm 33, and I can definitely feel some of those things. You know, I'm younger than you, and I know that sometimes when I go out and play basketball, I run or something like that. That next morning, I feel like a train wreck.
Yeah. And so, but back to our point where we talking about these football players. You imagine, man, go playing a game on Sunday and you practicing all week, and then you got to go and gear up to do it again the next week.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, it's a lot of wear and tear, man. A lot of wear and tear. So, Curtis, final question, last one. If you could send a message to the entire world, what would you say in 30 seconds?
Whew. Oh, man, I just said I'd look him in the eye, right? So I would say have empathy. Take a second to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. Not be so quick to, you know, go for the gusto and go for the big win. Exercise patience, empathy, and compassion, and just be willing to help your fellow man. And you know, if we could do that, put your ego aside. If you're willing to help the next person, everything else in life will take care of itself. So.
And I really appreciate you coming on to the show today, man, and you know, jumping on. I know it was last minute. We didn't have really a whole lot of time to prepare. You was helping your young daughter, and you basically got on and did the show with me. So I really appreciate, you know, you taking the time.
Yeah, man, anytime, man. It's fun, man. Like we talk a lot, and I'm putting you in the category. Like I talk to a couple of homeboys. I got a buddy in South Korea, and then I got a homeboy in North Carolina, man. We talk quite a bit. So we starting to get to that stage now, man, where we just bouncing ideas and talking quite a bit. So it's good, man. Anytime I can get on and talk crazy on the show, man, I'm down. So
yeah, I really love the fact that I, you know, joined that group, because I met a lot of great people in that group, and I'm not really a lot of people, you know, that don't know me. I'm not really a social person. I live in a bubble, man. You know, it's just me and my wife, a dog. I have children, but they live outside of the home. But for me, this is a total change of pace for me. If anybody that knows me, I'm not really that social, but it's really, you know, breaking me out of that comfort zone. I read a quote, and I want to share: nothing ever comes good out of a comfort zone.
Yeah.
And that right there resonated with me. I always want to do a sports podcast because I work in the gym, and a lot of our topics and debates come in the gym. You know, I'm talking to different fans of different sports and things like that. And I said, you know what, man, I think I could possibly do a podcast, but I never had the time. But now I have all the time in the world, put it together. And
you know, it's a great thing. It's a beautiful thing is that podcasts are becoming essential. And that was one of the first things I told my wife when these quarantines and stuff started happening. And I'm like, these things are going to start becoming people's entertainment because, you know, everybody has a different experience. Everybody has a story to tell, right? So this is going to be a new platform for entertainment for a lot of people. You see, the boardroom is now big. Kevin Durant's doing these interviews with Jay Williams and all these other stars, and everybody now is picking up that mic, man. And this is how we stay connected and get these stories out and share these ideas and content. So it's good, man. We're at the forefront of it, man, and you know, just keep pushing. I love the show, man, and I gave you the shout out on my episode the other day.
Yeah, man, I definitely appreciate that, man. Like, that's love, man.
Anything to make us better, man. And you know, my homeboy Nolan, he's on the Beerlosophy podcast. Me and him push each other, man. And any chance we get to shout each other out or you know, do that, you know, and I'll do the same for you, man. So it's a community. It really is a community. So
yeah, man, it's a really strong community. A lot of people, you know, everybody that's in it are really close, man. It's really tight knit. I mean, I'm really glad that I got in when I did.
Yeah.
So, man, like I want to end the show on that note. Can you tell the people how they can get in contact with you, man? How they can, you know, follow your page and your podcast and things like that?
anytime I can sell the show, man, I'm gonna do it. So, all right, the Culture Marauders, man. You know, marauding on all culture and delivering the goods to the masses. That's what we do. You can find us on Instagram. Follow us follow us on Instagram at _culture_marauders. Find us on Twitter. I'm not too active on Twitter because I don't get a lot of replies, but I'm there anyway. So check it out. It's the Culture Mara 1 with the numeral 1. And then at Facebook at the Culture Marauders. So check us out. You got anything you want to maraud on, anything you want to, drop our way for us to talk about, hit us up at theculturemarauders@gmail.com. And then go ahead and get them pod decks. Follow my man Corey over here. Go and get them pod decks. And then with that special code, Marauder1, that's capital, all caps, MARAUDER. With the number 1 behind it, all one word. Go ahead and throw it in the cart. And go ahead and lock it in, get that 10% off, get them decks, and start creating. So
there it is, man. That's our show for the day. Again, Curtis, I want to thank you for coming on to the show, and we out.
All right, peace.
Peace.